Good morning, everybody. My name is Andrea, and I'm saying hello to you from Barcelona, Spain. And I'd like to welcome you all to this, our fifth day of our event, Getting Started with Cambridge. So if you'd like to say hello and say we're saying hello from, hello, Ana Maria from Asturias. Hi, Laura from Italy. Wonderful. So today, this afternoon session and today's day, we're concentrating on exams. So the overview of today's webinar we'll start by looking at what Cambridge support there is for you, and then we'll go and start looking at the course Open World. Just a reminder, and apologies, my colleague Emily is in the chat as well. Hi, Katharina. Hi, Alessandra. Lovely to see you all here this afternoon. So just a reminder that you will receive your certificates for the plenary session in your follow-up email. And of course, you don't have your microphones on, but please feel free to interact with us in the chat, and I will be asking you questions to respond to in the chat during the webinar. So to begin with, Cambridge support for exams, we need to give our students the tools for success. And the first tool I'd like to share with you is Test and Train. Test and Train is an online elaborated practice tool that comes along with all our exam courses, and it's free. And this means that it gives you the answers, but it also explains to the students the correct answer as well. So that is one tool for success. And the second tool for success that we'd like to share with you is Write and Improve. If you're already familiar with this tool, fantastic. And if you're not, Write and Improve is an online process writing model tool where students can improve their syntactic and semantic performance through repetition. So I'm just going to show you a couple of slides. So you can choose when you enter Write and Improve, they can choose the level of the text, you can choose between general English, and you can also choose a text specific to an exam. So for here, if they chose B2 first, and then they could choose question 1, and then they would, of course, write their piece. And then once they submit their piece of writing, they'll get an immediate AI marked feedback. So this is the sort of feedback that they will get, but all of these in Write and Improve, there's a key to explain to them. When they hover over it, you'll see when you click on it, they ask the question with the mistake. So they're not correcting immediately. So they are making, of course, the students auto-correct. And here's another example, a suspicious word. Is this correct? Is this the correct word? This doesn't look right to us. So it's really great to get the students to auto-correct. And another tool, which is Cambridge One. So Cambridge One is our versatile digital learning platform designed to enhance your teaching and learning. So it's providing a wide range of resources and tools to support you and your students' progress. For those of you already familiar with Cambridge One, you'll be pleased to know it continues to evolve with even more intuitive features and content tailored to your teaching needs. And if you're new to the platform, Cambridge One offers an easy-to-use interface where you can access all of the resources and which helps you engage students in a dynamic and interactive way. So I'm just going to talk a little bit more about Cambridge One. So what's special about it? As I mentioned, it's all in one place. You have access to all of the teaching and learning materials across multiple devices, smartphones, tablets, iPads, computers. It's also age appropriate, so depending on the age of your students, the design is engaging. So if you teach also younger learners, teenagers and adults, it's all designed to ensure that they stay motivated and challenged at the right level. And it's data you can trust. What do we mean by that? That it's meaningful, relevant and actionable data. And there are elements of gamification, again, guiding you, the teacher, and keeping our learners motivated along their learning journey. It's very easy to register. You can log in using Facebook, Google, or Apple accounts. And if you need any support at all, there's also always a help button that you can click on to answer any questions that you may have. Once you enter, you'll see in Cambridge 1, there are 3 main sections at the top that are clearly labelled, where you can access your classes once you've created them, your library, where you'd have your material, and the My Training tab. Once you enter, you find your course material under where it's labelled All Course Materials. You activate it with the code that you have in the teacher's book. And then once you've activated, you can actually bookmark the materials that you use. So you can have easy access immediately to Open World in this case, for example, once you enter Cambridge 1. And with Open World, this is where you have access, as I mentioned, to all the teaching and learning material for Open World, from the interactive practice per unit, the practice extra that you can carry out with your students. You have access to Test and Train, one of the tools that we just mentioned to support your students. You also have a test generator in addition to that, where you can create your own assignments or print off assignments ready to go. You've got the classroom presentation and management tool. You've got extra resources, so the teacher's resources, you have access to extra worksheets, videos and audios that you can download, and you have access to the interactive ebook. If we go to the My Training tab, you will find in My Training there, you'll find self-study modules designed for you, the teacher, to help you learn and get the most out of Cambridge 1. So we have 4 courses: how to teach with Cambridge 1, how to teach with Practice Extra, and Presentation Plus, and Test and Train. So remember, Practice Extra is one of the components of Open World. So here you have a self-study module on how you can get the most out of Practice Extra with Open World, and also a self-study module of how to teach with and get the most out of Test and Train with your students on Cambridge 1. We've also got here on the website for Open World, a Teaching with Open World. So this is the self-study module that focuses on the 4 key features, which we are going to look at as well, but it goes into much more detail. You've got videos, you've got little quizzes that you can take, designed to really help you understand inside and out the Open World material. So you can access that via the QR code. So knowing where to get support, where to go for support. Well, I'd like to, if you haven't already been introduced to our exam preparation journey, do go and visit it. My colleague has just popped into the chat box the links that you need. So check out the exam preparation journey. It's there to support you and your students right from the start of the year up until results and celebration. There are loads and loads of resources. And even if you're not preparing students for the exam, there's lots of resources and support for you to help your students along their learning journey. And it's also a great help to navigating to all of the other useful sites. As I mentioned, there's support you have in the Cambridge Learning Journey. It's divided into 10 packs from pack 1 right at the beginning of the journey. There you will find support on how you can incorporate Test and Train and the digital sample papers, for example, into the mock test toolkit. You'll also find in pack 2 how you can include Write and Improve that we just saw, that tool, how you can include Write and Improve as a component for students in their SMART goals. And you'll also find other help and techniques and strategies, from feedback to reflection, all in these 10 packs that are designed to help support you and your students from day one at the beginning of their journey all the way up to Pack 10, which is results and celebrations. And once again, even if you're not preparing students for the Cambridge exams, this is also useful support for students along their learning journey. Also, don't forget to sign up to our newsletter. By signing up to our newsletter, you will receive regular updates designed specifically for teachers of English. So you'll get resources to help you prepare your students for Cambridge English qualifications. You'll also receive latest teacher webinars, which cover a wide spectrum of subjects and free professional development. And you'll also receive the latest teacher news and events relevant to you. So here, signing up for our webinars, we're going to be beginning with our teacher webinars next month. And the first webinar is with my colleague, Sarah Ellis, where she's going to be looking at the power of the mock test and preparing for exam success. Also, you can access you might also be interested to access all of our pedagogy research, of course, by carrying out research into what works best for teachers and your learners. We make sure that everything we do is underpinned and improved by evidence. So here you've also got access to our pedagogical white papers. If you haven't visited our World of Better Learning, please do. Here, I'm just going to share some blogs, which I think are really interesting, and I recommend that you read them. So here in the World of Better Learning, we have also more support and help for teachers. Here you can access this blog with this QR code, looking at exam preparation in the real world. And then another blog, I'm just going to leave there for a moment so you can access it with the QR code. And another blog written by my colleague Matt Ellman, looking at the exam journey, the key to successful exams. So here's the QR code that you can access that. And this third blog I wanted to share with you all, because it was one of the highest rated blogs. So I thought, no, definitely have to share this with you. If you haven't already read this, word formation exercises and activities to boost vocabulary. So yes, I do urge you to have a look at these blogs if you haven't, and you can search on the World of Better Learning for skills, for exams as well, so do check it out. Cambridge English Qualifications Digital. Yes, now we have all these exams are available digitally and on demand. All of these individual exams are available digitally. And why are digital exams so good? Well, they better meet you and your students' needs. Why? They're secure, so they've got randomized tests to increase security really fast. So you've got your students will receive their results in 5 to 10 working days. Fantastically, you can have them on demand, sessions available for 365 days a year. They're flexible as well. You can registration can be offered up to 2 working days in advance, and it reflects the real world of our students. So it's a better candidate experience, and it's also easier to administer. So thinking about better candidate experience and meeting our candidates' needs. Why is it a better exam experience with more control? Well, you've got the timer there. They have the timer. They've got automatic word count, and they've got immediate ability to edit in writing. So they don't have to guess the word count. You've got the headphones and the volume control in listening, so they control their own the volume for the listenings, ability to highlight in the reading. They don't need to transfer answers or worry about their handwriting anymore. They can also control over font size and background color as well, which can help especially dyslexic candidates. And as I mentioned before, faster results And it's in line with this increase in digital learning and skills they will use in the real world. So it feels a lot more natural to our candidates. So I've got two more resources and support that I'd like to share with you. And the first one is sustainability. Now, I've been talking for quite a bit, so I've got a question for you to pop into the chat box. What words come to mind when you think about sustainability? So if I say sustainability, what words come to mind? Reusable. Yes, Anna Maria. Maintenance. Okay, thank you, Karen. Environment, tourism, environment. And any other words? Environment. So yeah, the first thing that comes to mind, environment, I would, exactly. Well, yes, it is environment, reuse, reduce, green. So if we think about aspects of sustainability, yes, it is environmental, which could simply mean that for our learners, it would mean that they use both sides of the paper to write on. But it's also social. So this could mean for our learners, social could mean learning to share and cooperate. And it's also economical, yeah? So it's also economic, I should say. So this means that the economic activity has a positive social, environmental, and cultural impact. And you're never, ever too young or too old to start thinking about the impact of spending at a personal level. So yes, meeting everyone's needs. So at Cambridge, we're using this definition for sustainability. So sustainability encompasses the knowledge, skills, and attitudes we need to ensure a fairer, brighter future for people and the natural world. We're using this definition. So you might be listening to me and saying, this is great, but why bring sustainability into the English language classroom? Well, here are some reasons we believe at Cambridge that the language classroom is the ideal place to include sustainability education. Young people want to play an active part in shaping the world they live in. A focus on sustainability can help learners engage meaningfully with their English language learning. It can support and provide practical focus on those ever so important life skills. And English is a key language in global sustainability discussions, and this provides access to information and opportunities. And last but definitely not least, increasingly governments and institutions are requiring sustainability to be embedded within the wider curriculum. So at Cambridge, we love frameworks, and we have developed a framework for sustainability skills to help teachers better understand the skills that learners need. So yes, that's great. Having a framework is one thing, but it's a completely another thing. You might be thinking, yes, this is great, but what does that mean for me as a teacher? How can I bring this into the classroom with my students? Well, we've developed a series of activity cards that you can use alongside any language course. You can use alongside Open World. My colleague has just popped into the chat box the series, which you can access these activity cards. These, you've got an example on the screen here. We've got activity cards for young learners, teenagers, and adults. And a lot of the activities for adults can be adapted for teenage learners too. So these are here to help you see how you can bring into the classroom. And this is where you'll be able to find out more from the link my colleague popped into the chat box. You can find more about the framework, the activity cards, and more resources. Another buzzword that I think you'll agree is or everywhere is generative AI. So I've got another question for you. Type in the chat box. Hi, Deborah. Type in the chat box one word or phrase about how you feel about generative AI, because it is the buzzword. Opportunities, wonderful, positive, Niels, opportunities. Creative, thank you, Giles. Creative. Useful, a personal assistant to make things easier. I love it. I use it, a little personal assistant. Totally agree with you there. And a modern way to enlarge your learning. Wonderful, positive words. Innovative. Well, yes. So what we've done at Cambridge, we've created a whole pack of ideas that you can try out. So you can access them by this QR code. I believe that my colleague will also pop, yes, thank you, Emily, has popped it into the chat box as well. So here you've got an example of some of these ideas pack. So this resource is really designed to help you become more confident when using this tool in your teaching practice. It's all research-based. They're bite-sized suggestions to help you in this field, this new field of generative AI. So it provides practical ideas that you can try out and introduce into English language teaching. And it also uses the Cambridge English Digital Framework for language teachers as a guidepost. So do check them out as well. So that's all of the support that we have, which is there's all this enormous amount of support out there for you and your learners. Now I have another question for you. Thinking about your learners, before we go in and look at open world, how do you motivate and engage your learners in exam preparation? How do you motivate and engage your learners in exam preparation? Maybe you've got some great tips and suggestions that you can share with each other in the chat. Katrina, challenging them. Excellent, yes. Assessing their progress, showing them how they're progressing and learning, personalizing the class based on their interests, yes. Making that learning relevant for them. Thank you, Carmen. Anybody else? Any other ways that you try to motivate them? Engaging them with interesting topics. Yes, that sometimes can be more challenging to find those interesting topics. Great. So, well, now we're going to look at, with that in mind, let's take a look at open world. So open world, we've got 4 levels, A2, B1, B2, and C1. And these help to build the language and skills students need to succeed in the Cambridge English exams. And they can be used with teenagers. It can be used with teenagers or adults. It combines exam preparation with general English. So it can be used in a variety of teaching and learning contexts. Each level has 14 units plus a starter unit. And the course is designed for between 90 to 120 hours. So in the course, there are 4 key features in the book. And these are the exam journey. So the exam journey allows students to build their confidence and develop their skills as they work towards their exam. So there's lots of exam familiarization and training tasks and tips on exam strategies, which we'll see. You've also got the real world English focus. So there are 2 pages focused at the real world section at the end of every unit, which allows students, it was designed to get students to connect their learning to the outside world through documentary videos, reading, listening, and functional language. And then we have the push yourself further sections. So the push yourself further sections offers an opportunity for students to challenge themselves with practice tasks, which takes them beyond the CEFR level of the book they're using. And the 4th feature I want to share with you is a grammar on the move. So this grammar on the move section, it launches into a mobile grammar animation to help support learning. So we're going to have a look at these 4 features. We've also got progress tests every 2 units, so students can really consolidate and assess their progress, which will help keep them motivated. So every unit has images. It starts with images and activities to introduce the unit topic. Even if we're preparing, we have to remember, even if we are preparing our learners for exams, having a good context really matters, and it helps develop ideas over the course of the unit. It also helps to activate knowledge, introduce new knowledge, and these images here are to help provide a great lead-in to teach new things and to get the sense of where our students are linguistically and thematically. So don't forget, sometimes you think, oh my gosh, my teenage learners specifically, they don't have these ideas. I always think of this lead-in with the images where the magical generation of ideas are started. So looking at this image, I just saw Emily says ChatGPT says motivate, engage your students in exam preparation by incorporating interactive learning methods. Excellent, thank you, Emily, for sharing that. So going back, looking at images. So we look at this image, what questions could you ask your learners using this visual and topic? What questions? Where are you? Yes. Thank you, Lucy. Where are you? Where are they? Have you got any other questions? Is technology helping you to remember, or are you missing out? Great question. What are they doing? Why are they doing it? What would you use, Alessandra? Do you do it? Have you ever something? Okay. Any other questions? Would you like to be there? Exactly. So here are some questions. What is a social network? Look at the spots on the screen. Could it be a real situation? Excellent, thank you. Can you describe what you see, what's happening in the picture? Who, where, when, why? Thank you, Rose. So I've got these questions for you. What is a social network, for example, to you? Could bring that in. Another question, how do you interact with social media? Another question, what do you think is happening? What do you think is happening the other side of the photo? Get them thinking a little bit even beyond the picture. Have you lost touch with anyone who you would like to get in touch with again? How would you do it? You've got the phone there. So these are just some examples, but you'll always have in the teacher's book as well, you will have suggested questions that you could use if you're struggling for ideas. So you get that in the teacher's book as well. And there's plenty of ideas that you can use. So let's have a look at the unit. You'll see, we've already mentioned, you've got the visuals at the start of each unit, which help the learners activate those ideas. And then you'll find also these did you know boxes, which aim to expand and clarify learners' knowledge and language skills. You'll also find exam training sections, which form part of the exam journey and that help learners become familiar with exam formats. And they also offer practical experience. And you will also find these exam focus pages, these tasks that expose your learners to each exam question type, of course, giving them that confidence. And each unit has this separate exam focus with full exam tasks. So these tips, these kind of tips you'll find here, exam tips, exam facts, they're given throughout the exam focus pages, designed to develop the students' strategies for exam success. But you can also use these tips in various ways. So you could use them as an introduction to exam structure and exam training. You could use them as reminders for learners about why they need to do what they need to do, and as discussion points on how to best prepare for exam day. You said, Russia saying, I only have a book with the answers, but no teacher's book with such prompts. Where can I buy it? I think Emily will be able to maybe put a link in the chat or where you can access the teacher's book. Okay. So yes, so you can use these tips in various ways, as I mentioned. Another feature that I mentioned at the beginning is the grammar on the move feature, which you'll find twice in every unit. And it consists of a short video in English explaining a particular grammar point using simple animations. And they really make the grammar relevant and memorable. So we're going to take a look. What you can do, you can even access this grammar on the move video with your mobile. With your students in the class, you could even ask them to access it via their smartphones, or you could project it from Presentation Plus to the whole class. So let's take a closer look. So here, I'm gonna play the video of the Grammar on the Move. I'd like you, how are you feeling this Friday afternoon? Thank you, Emily, for putting the link in the chat. So Abresha, with that link, you should be able to find all the information that you need for Open World, okay? So how are you feeling this Friday afternoon at the end of a week in September? You feeling fresh? So I would like you to watch the video and answer these questions if you can. And you must answer in exactly 5 words, okay? So here I'm going to press play now. Watching, paying attention.
Grammar on the Move. The passive.
So, Dave, are you and Sarah ready for your move to Australia?
Yes, we are. Our house has been packed up ready for the move. We're really excited.
Do you think you'll be able to find a job when you get there?
I think it will be quite easy. Most of the information I need can be found online, and a useful website has been set up to give advice about finding jobs in Australia.
That sounds great. I'll have to come and visit you when you're settled in.
So, what has happened to Dave's house? Well, it's been packed up. I've given you the first one for you. What about the second one? What can be found online? Carmen, you can download also the videos from the Cambridge one as well. Information can be found online, information, jobs. Okay, I'm not going to say exactly in 5 words, but you could do this, for example, with your students. So the information that Dave needs. Thank you, Anna. And why was the website set up? I'll give it to you to give advice about jobs. So
Grammar on the Move.
So you can, as I mentioned, you can ask your students, because it's in the book, they can either access directly with the QR code, or you can present from the presentation plus that you access via Cambridge One and project to the whole class. So the push yourself, another feature that you'll find, the push yourself sections, they challenge. This challenge encourages students to build further confidence and develop language skills further than the level that they are working at. It's a very useful tool for the learners. We're looking at B2, so this push yourself is looking at language for C1. So the purpose of these push yourself sections is really to provide that extra layer of challenge. And as we know, push yourself, as the name suggests, we want to push our students. So as I mentioned, we're looking at B2. So this is pushing students up and using a vocabulary and language from C1. The push yourself sections normally focus on vocabulary, but sometimes you might find that it does focus on grammar and even sometimes on functions such as giving opinions or disagreeing politely. They always tie in with the unit theme, and they introduce the language that will help students as they complete the other parts of the unit. And sometimes what you'll find in the teacher's notes with the sections for push yourself sections, in some of them you will find optional, they will include optional extension ideas, so you can choose how much time you want to spend on the push yourself section. So if you wanted to spend more time and exploit them further with those extension ideas in the teacher's notes, you can do that. And of course, as students they're aware that this is at a higher level, so completing the task successfully can really work to boosting and increasing that confidence, and that will link to motivating them along their journey. So you can use these push yourself sections in the best way that suits you and your students. So let's have a look at one way that we could maybe extend and exploit this a little bit more. So this is looking at hedging. So in the second task here, students have to put this language in the correct order. So the answer would be, it could be argued that our friends are more important than family. It's been suggested that friendships nowadays are less sincere than in the past. It is said that social media has made people feel more lonely. So imagine you've done this with your students. What activities could you do with these statements? So they've completed this. You've got these statements. What activities could you do with them? Discuss, yeah? Discuss, write an essay. Yeah, oh, fantastic. Yes. Ask them to write essays. So debates. Yeah, Margarita. Yes. Debates, debates, debates. Yes, they do have a great opportunity to lead into debate. So here I've got 3 debating techniques that I'd like to share with you. Maybe you have already used them, maybe you haven't, so it would be great for you to try them out maybe this year. So the first one is the fishbowl debate. And the way the fishbowl debate works is that you divide your class into 2 groups, an inner circle and an outer circle. Of course, depending on how large your groups are, if you have very large groups, then maybe you could create various inner and outer circles in the class. So the inner circle is debating the debate. So the inner circle is debating, and the outer circle is just observing and taking notes. You give them a set time. So you say, of course, you're going to debate for this exactly set time. And then after that time, they switch roles. So the outer circle then becomes the inner circle, and they debate, and the outer circle is then listening and taking notes. This debate is a great way to encourage active listening, and it helps to refine arguments. Then we have speed debating. So speed, not dating, speed debating. So you can divide students into pairs or small groups, has the same idea. You can allow each group 1 or 2 minutes to present arguments and counter arguments, and then you rotate the groups after each round to ensure different matchups. And this, of course, encourages quick thinking and concise expression. Then we have the silent debate, which brings in this writing skill. So you divide the class into groups and you assign their debate topics. And instead of speaking, you're asking the students to write arguments. So it's a little bit different to just asking them to write an essay linked to the question in mind. You're asking them to write arguments and counter arguments on large sheets of paper or whiteboards if you have in the class. So then the groups rotate and they respond to the previous arguments. So they're, as a group, they write down their arguments, then they rotate and they respond to the other group's arguments. So this is great. It's not only emphasizing written communication, critical thinking, but it also gives the students that they're working together, collaborating together, and having to write their arguments. So here are 3 ideas that maybe you'd like to try out this year with your students, and how you can extend this particular push yourself in the B2 level of open world. So as we know, the students progress through each unit. There are constant opportunities to develop grammar, vocabulary, reading, writing, listening, speaking, in addition to exam practice. Remember, open world can be used with general and exam preparation. So let's have a look at another idea to exploit an activity from a speaking page. So here, this is called the sentence expander, which maybe you already do this with your students. So they have to, once they've completed this activity, they then have to choose a sentence and see how many different ways they can extend it by 2 words. So the one that I have on the screen here is, they must be at a fancy dress party. How can you expand that by 2 words? Do you want to pop that into the chat box? How would you expand they must be at a fancy dress party by 2 words? Put 2 words, Giles. Oh, sorry, yes, for children. Sorry, yeah, party for children. Thank you. Yeah, by 10, by 10. Okay. Oh, this evening, exactly. There must be a really good fancy dress party. Thanks, Deborah, that's great. Before midnight, yeah, so you can ask them, yeah, I've got some examples here. There must be a big fancy dress party, although I like your examples, they're much better than mine. So there must be a really terrible fancy dress party. There must be a fun superheroes fancy dress party, and so on. So this is also, you could expand it by 2 words, 3 words, 4 words, and it's also a good idea for what? For those fast finishers. So if you have those fast finishers, it's a simple way to ask them another idea for them to do. So let's have a look at another idea that we can use with visuals. Throughout the book, you'll find visuals on the pages, and sometimes it's really we can use other ideas how to exploit those visuals. So if we look at this one here, I've got 3 ideas, but in what ways could I use this picture in class? This picture, sorry, this picture in class. Role play, yes, exactly, could role play it. So one of them is the presenter. Maybe it's a podcast. Vocab list race, excellent dramatization. Thank you, Elena. Yes. So, I mean, my 3 ideas here is very similar to maybe a role play, but caption this. They actually create captions to describe the scene. Again, boosting creativity, vocabulary, picture associations. They can brain words. It's linked to your vocab list race, Giles. Phrases or ideas associated with the picture. Alessandra says picture description for revising lexis, grammar structures, and so on. Yes. Guess what they're talking about? Excellent. Yes. Okay. Memory challenge. You maybe have been working on the page, and then you go to the next page, and then you can ask them what can they recall from this visual, as many details as possible. This is to enhance their observation skills. I love the idea. Guess what they're talking about, Mary? Thanks for sharing. So another feature, remember the 4th feature that we mentioned at the beginning is the real world, the 2 pages real world section that comes at the end of every unit. And this is designed, these pages are designed to really allow students to connect their learning to the outside world through documentary videos, reading, listening, and functional language. They come in every unit. And let's have a look at some of the real world language phrases they may hear. So the idea is that they're exposed to real world functional idiomatic language that they might use or hear. So if you see on the screen here, phrases you might hear. So if I highlight 3 and 4, for example, where are you doing that? And 4 is I'm sure, they have to match with the idiomatic expressions at the bottom. So what's another way to say, where are you doing that? A, B, C, D, E, F, or G. A, whereabouts, yes. And another way of saying I'm sure. C, thank you, Irene. C, exactly, I bet. So you'll find these phrases you might hear, activities in the real world section. And you'll also have, there's also a real world extensive listening task through the video. So it's really designed to, as I mentioned, bring in the outside world into the classroom, or take the students, I should say, out of the classroom into the real world, and to prepare them for the unexpected, and so that they can travel to different destinations around the world. So as I mentioned, you have the video. So the video and audio serve as a basis for these authentic language examples, as well as listening practice for the learners. You can, again, you've always got the QR code. They can either look at the video by accessing the QR code in the book, or again, you have access from the Presentation Plus and on Cambridge One. And the real world section always finishes with a mini project-based task focusing on a particular life competency, meaning that students either have to be creative, think critically, communicate confidently, or collaborate effectively. So all of these are taken from our Cambridge framework for life competencies. And in most units, they have 2 stages: the individual preparation followed by a group presentation to the rest of the class. So if we look here at this life competencies, making decisions, managing conversations, where students are asked to, they have to plan a language exchange, and they have to write down 4 activities that they could do together at the language exchange, and then they're asked to work in groups and decide who has created the best plan. I've got an idea that's a little bit puts a twist on it. So you've got here a script about language exchanges, and what we could do, we could carry out a collaborative planning activity. So you could ask them to work in groups of 4, and they have to discuss, of course, what would be a successful language exchange for you. Then they'll have to plan those 4 activities, and then they'd have to share those activities with another group, challenge the learners to improve on their language exchange. So they're then showing, and they have to improve on the ideas that the original group came up with, and then they have to share the activities with the whole group. And of course, then vote who came up with the best exchange. As I mentioned, you've got progress tests every 2 units, so students can consolidate and assess their progress. As we mentioned at the beginning, as you mentioned, it's a way of motivating them, is showing how they are progressing and learning along their learning journey. And you've got extra resources that can be found at the back of the book. You've got a grammar, communication activities, a grammar reference, writing bank, speaking bank, a phrasal verb builder. So all of these extra sections are really providing further language skills development and exam practice. For example, with the phrasal word builder, you could maybe even use it as a phrasal verb bingo. So the idea is that each lesson, the learner chooses 3 phrasal verbs to try and use in that class. So they try to be used in a natural way, in a genuine use, not just asking to shout out in class. And then once the learner has said it, they can tick it off their list. So they could choose, as I mentioned, 3 random phrasal verbs and try to use them in the class in a natural way. So it's a nice way to use that phrasal verb builder. As I mentioned at the beginning, you have all of these resources too. We've already seen this available on Cambridge Run. You've got the practice extra digital resources, interactive practice for your students. Don't forget that you have a self-study module in the My Training tab, which teaches you and shows you how you can really exploit this and make the most out of it. It can be used on any device, on smartphones, computers, any device. Contains all of the grammar and vocabulary exercises and games that they've covered in the units in the book. And of course, the exercises are all auto-marked as well. And you've also got test and train as well. And not to forget that you do have the teaching with Open World on the website, which goes into and explains and looks at those 4 features that you'll find in the units of all the levels of Open World, their exam journey, the push yourself sections, the real world experiences, and the grammar on the move. So those are the 4 main features that you will find in the course. So just to finish up, it's great if we have all of these wonderful, where'd you find, sorry, Irene, where'd you find this, Teaching with Open World? It's on, we posted the link earlier on in the chat. I don't know if Emily can, I will go back at the end and show you again. Okay, Maria? Let's just finish this and I can show you back. Thank you, Emily. And she's just posted the link where you can find the Teaching with Open World. Okay, so I was saying it's great that we have all of these resources. And I think I just wanted to share with you, we have to know also, if we can't manage our classroom, we won't be able to get the most out of the materials. So I've got these 5 5 tips actually. Don't know why I said 4, they're 5 tips that can help manage our classrooms. So I've taken the vowels out. So what is the first word? Something your learners right from, exactly, Anna. Activate your learners right from the start. Get students engaged from the moment they enter the classroom. Use energizing activities or thought-provoking questions to capture their attention early. So starting with momentum ensures that focus throughout the lesson, reduces the idle behavior. What about the second tip? English classroom, yes. Routines. Routines are important, not only in the young learner classroom, but also in our teenage classroom as well. Consistent routines create a sense of stability, making students feel secure and understand as well what's expected, what we expect from them. So when they know the flow of the day or the lesson, that which is the next word, they can then focus on learning without distraction. So routines always help with maintaining order and of course making lessons flow, ensuring that the lessons are well organized, moving smoothly from one activity to the next, trying to avoid, yes, you're faster than me, guys. yeah, making them flow. So when I'm thinking about making lessons flow, I'm thinking about this threading the needle. You know where you've been and you know where you want to go. I don't know if I saw, did you say for number 4 what? Oh yes, Dahlia, you did, thank you. So number 4, make sure learners do what you want them to do. You think, oh, that'd be great. So what do I mean by that? Be assertive and clear in your expectations. We need to be assertive and clear that our learners need to know what we expect from them. And as we all know, teenagers will often test boundaries, so it's important to be firm, consistent, not overly strict, but also not overly soft, that we are respected and understood. And of course, the last one, voice. I don't know how often we think about the voice, the use of our voice in the classroom, keeping our tone calm and steady, and raising, not raising our voice overly or sounding out of control. Yeah, a calm, confident voice conveys that authority and helps maintain a productive and respectful environment. So, we've looked at all of these resources, and I want to share this quote because I think this is a great quote. Difficulties arise when we try to use textbooks exactly as they are without thinking about the needs, skills, and circumstances of the particular set of students sitting in front of us. Every classroom, all of our classrooms, every single classroom and every group of students is a different world. The course book is an invaluable tool which guides, it supports us. And if we know this material inside and out, it'll allow us to be flexible and adapt it to meet those specific needs and interests of our students. So I hope you found today's, this afternoon's webinar useful. If you have any more questions, if you want to pop them into the chat. Oh, thank you, Deborah. Any questions at all? Thank you, Anna. I'm going to share also a poll with you, and then I'll have a look if anybody's popped anything in the Q&A. Let me just share this. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Katerina. I'm going to share this poll with you. Thank you. Thank you. Don't forget, you will receive recording once the event's finished. Thank you, Neil. Thank you. And thank you for joining me on a Friday afternoon. And happy teaching, successful teaching. I wanted to, so yes, and do look at, thank you, Deborah, the sustainability resources, do check them out. Check out those activity cards. There's some really great ideas that you can exploit together with the units in Open World. Yeah. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Does Cambridge One require an institution registration? No, I think if you are using Cambridge One with a school, you can get request a school key, I believe it's called. I think Emily might know. If not, do ask your local educational consultant.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question maybe, Andrea? I'm sorry.
So yes, the question was, doesn't Cambridge One require an institution registration?
So as a teacher, you can go there and register free of charge. But if you do want to access the material, then you do need the code that's within the teacher's book.
Yes.
If you want to use it in the classroom setting, you will have to create an institution login.
Yes.
And for that, you just still need that same teacher's code that's in the teacher's book.
To create, to request that.
Yes, yep, that's exactly. Yep.
Yes. So I was just thinking, Marlene, I'm trying to learn or improve my English. I'm not a teacher. You can use write and improve. You can use that to develop your writing skills. That's excellent. Also test and train. You can use as a student. You can you can get test and train as an individual, as a separate component. You can purchase it. I assume you can mention self-employed. Yes, I think yes, of course you can, Carmen. When you sign in Cambridge One, yes, as a teacher, yes, as an individual teacher. When you register, yes, you can. I don't know where I can register as a student. When in the student book, there should be also a code for students. When you go to register on Cambridge One, it will ask you, are you a teacher or are you a student?
And there are also a number of short videos in the help
exactly.
on Cambridge One. They're really, really well done, and they're short and quick and very friendly user. So I would advise you have a short video on how to register as a student, as an institution, as a teacher, and also as a parent. So those videos are very helpful.
Thank you, Emily. And you can access them via the help key, which I showed you. Thank you.
And I'll pop in the link again.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Emily. So yes, thank you for joining me today. I just also want to share again, we've still got Monday and Tuesday where we're going to be looking at teenagers on Monday and Tuesday, teenage courses, teenage learners. So yes, and if there's no more questions, let me see if they've got anything in the I don't know, Q&A. But I wish you all a very happy, relaxing weekend. Thank you,
Andrea.
Thank you. Thank you, Deborah. Have a lovely weekend, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.